Hi, everybody. Tori, I think that's a great treat for right now. In lieu of cinnamon buns for all. Yeah, she's off to get it. Okay, hi, everybody. It is Tuesday, the 28th of October. And as is annual tradition now in the collective, we are going to do a money mindset at Christmas call today, which is a great one to listen into. It's a good reminder of some of the principles and some of the things that we can align internally in our brains to help us in the coming weeks have that kind of backdrop of strength in the business, protecting the profit margin, keeping the abundance flowing, attracting the sales, all of that good stuff that really is important this time of year and strengthens us for the year ahead. So I'm going to do quite a bit of chatting today, and it is definitely a getting your head and heart in the right place when it comes to money and the coming weeks. It's a good one to have on while you're doing things, but also if you are able to make notes, round some of the concepts and the things that I'm talking about for yourself, that's also really beneficial. So I am going to take questions. We can do some talking about it, but also just happy to have you here and listening in. And even the act of listening in is going to help to work on some of this stuff as well. Okay, I think I am going to do just a couple of minutes to ground us in the session because we are going to be talking about the energy and the mindset of stuff. So I'm going to give us a couple of minutes. We're going to do some breathing. Going to have another slurp of my coffee. And then I will dive in. So whether you are listening in while you're doing other things or here for the whole thing, let's just take a couple of minutes together to feel grounded as we go into this place. We'll just take some deep breaths. We'll, if you can, minimize distractions. If you are comfy closing your eyes, that's also recommended so that you can give your brain just a couple of minutes of not having as much input. You can have a little concentrate on the internal world, taking a couple of deep breaths. Deepening your inhale, extending the exhale. Just seeing if you can soften, release any tension, release anything that you've been carrying for like the entire world. Relaxing your shoulders, releasing your jaw, breathing all the way up to the top of your head. And then exhaling down your spine, all the way into your seat. Feeling your feet on the floor and the ground beneath you. So really allowing yourself to physically connect with your seat, the ground, so that you can feel supported and held. I'm going to invite you just briefly to connect with your kind of core and your sacral chakra. So that is the space just below your belly button. It's also your gut. And so I want you to do two things. One is to take a couple of deep breaths, really doing that lovely belly breathing to kind of release any tension. Just really allowing yourself to soften. And then we're just going to do a little bit of that, engaging your inner core, strengthening from within, not that like belly sucking in thing that we all learn to do because of chauvinism, but that really like inner strength thing that's actually strengthening in two directions. It's helping you strengthen into the ground, and it's helping you to have that core stability going up. It actually helps to strengthen your spine and your heart and to hold yourself with less effort but more strength. And it's just a little subtle thing, but it's in an important area. It is about that inner strength. And you can release again. But I want you to keep coming back to that feeling of inner strength in this space where we can be energized and we can be strong. So again, just allowing yourself to breathe into the present moment. Feel some of the inner glow within you. That's where we're going to be focusing today. Okay, a couple of deep breaths, and then we're going to come back to the group. Thank you for indulging me in a slightly different way of tuning in, but I hope it's helpful. Just a tool. If it works for you, wonderful. If it doesn't, you can totally release that one. That's totally fine. But yeah, there's something about that belly area, the gut, the sacral chakra, is very connected to how we feel about money as a resource and about everything as a resource. So we want to just tune into that, and we want to strengthen it little and often as we go. It's a good way, at least I find it a good way to connect. Right, I'm going to pull up my screen. And make sure we have everything. So here we are. Okay, so we're going to go into money mindset at Christmas, ahead of Christmas, really. So today we are going to talk about how you can tend gently but powerfully to your money mindset and expand your capacity for success. Like I said earlier, this isn't necessarily a strategy workshop. We're not going fully into like, oh my God, we need to replan everything and re-strategize Christmas and la 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 la. But we are expanding that internal thermostat for success that can hold us back. So we'll talk about that quite a bit. We're going to talk about protecting your profit at Christmas. Protecting your profit is a piece of the collective curriculum, and it is one of the really important things in small business to be actively thinking about fairly often. It's why we look at it as part of our monthly ritual, but it's also really important at Christmas because things can get quite busy and it can be a different pace of working. There are some things that can erode some of the profit margin at Christmas, and I want to make sure that we go into the season with our eyes open to that. And then we're also going to talk about practical ways to ensure that you're making money and that is going to set you up for a brilliant 2026 and beyond. And I know we have a few people in the wider group who are like, this Christmas really needs to like make itself known and bring its own success in order for 2026 to happen in the way that we want it to. So I want to acknowledge that upfront and as well. And we're going to acknowledge all of these things. It was actually really fun preparing for this call and going back to this. I mean, we first did this masterclass in 2022 or 3, and it was really interesting coming to it again with the world shifted again. And I think we will talk about both mindset to help keep us really strong and reality of external world things. Okay. So why this matters, why we are coming back to this annual masterclass workshop check-in. So I'm guessing some of you have worked really hard, but then realized that there isn't as much money as you thought there was. That is, Beck's like, yep, check. Small businesses often end up overpaying for incidentals because it's busy and then creating leaky buckets. So things like not keeping on top of stock levels and overpaying for speedy delivery, like beyond what we would really want to, and that actually is a real erosion of profit margin. That is the most common and probably the most expensive example. There are other things as well where we can end up like discounting too much, getting really excited about all the orders coming in, and then not really realizing until we do our tax return in whenever we do our tax return and going, oh, that didn't really work. So it's an important moment to keep on top of the things that could erode some of the profit. Q4 is often where rubber hits the road for small businesses, and we have to stay the course with head and heart. And that really is important. And what I would say is important for those listening in is that we do that with where you are for your business and what Q4 looks like for your business this year. And we can talk more about that. That's all good. Okay. So a little reminder about abundance mindset. I have so many thoughts about this, but just to like spell it out, there are 2 circles on the screen. One is scarcity and one is abundance. And I think the reality is we're probably all on a spectrum of different things. But on one end, we have scarcity, which is where we're worried that there's never enough. We are worried or creating low profit. Often there's low sales. There's a belief that you can't charge more. And there is usually a unconscious, sometimes it's conscious and you're kind of stuck, but often an unconscious upper limit problem. And as a reminder, an upper limit problem is this concept from The Big Leap, and it is this internal thermostat that we each have, that we kind of were given basically as kids, which is that you can be this successful, you can be this happy, you can have this set up, but not anymore. And we're all given that, and our nervous systems are really attuned to that. And we often create problems to keep us in that safe space. That we basically have this internal, this is what safety means for me, even though it's an old story and it's not usually what we really want. So that is something that we're just shedding some light on today so that we can notice where we might be keeping ourselves small, separately from the world being crazy, that we might be keeping ourselves small or locked in a kind of internal upper limit problem. On the other end of the spectrum, there is abundance. And I have a note about the word abundance, which I think it is vastly overused, and there are lots of like Instagram coachy people who often are in a woo-woo end of the spectrum, and we will be a bit woo-woo today because that's how we are. But even further down that spectrum, where abundance is just this thing where there's more and more and more and more and more. And I would say that actually there's a lot of bypassing reality in that. So I'm going to go with grounded abundance, that there is already enough and more available. And I think this is really important, especially in the current climate and as women, that we often see, like right now, we're seeing billionaires and this conversation about billionaires and millionaires and the top X%, and more and more and more and more and more. That's not you guys. That's not us. We don't have to have the same judgment of that. That is a different situation to what we're talking about here. That abundance is enough and maybe a bit more. And that we're talking about a healthy profit. We're talking about aligned sales. That's not, I provide this thing and it's great for my customers, but I'm burnt out and not making any money. And it's also not, I've swindled everyone and I've definitely charged way too much for this and I'm in a different place. So aligned sales, things that are really aligned in value and just feel good on both ends. And it's really this belief that I can charge and make enough. We talked about this a little bit on Friday, and I've said it to a few of you last week outside of live calls and outside of our meetup. But there's this thing of like, we're not trying to be billionaires. We're just trying to make a living. And that is possible and that is doable and that is enough. This idea of enoughness is really key. So I would be interested in your sense of where you are right now and where you are most of the time in this pattern. Whether you find yourself more connected to that sense of abundance or whether you find yourself often caught up in that scarcity and that worry. So if you want to share that in the chat, you're very welcome to. I'm going to have a slurp of coffee and then we'll talk a little bit about shifting more into the abundance mindset. And that's where we want to be. So there's a lot of the abundance mindset that if we go into the woo-woo space, you know, we talk about it when we're doing our marketing. If we're in scarcity, if we're in fear, if we're in no one's ever going to buy this, it's too expensive, I can't charge enough for it, then that energy comes into the marketing, which is a big reason of why I like to do this reminder at this time of year, because as much as possible, we want to be in that space of you've made something great, you can charge enough for it, other people value it, here we are. Like healthy energy exchange, healthy money exchange is good, because that then shines through in how you show up to your marketing, to your business, in your customer emails and the like pre-sale emails and the post-sales emails, you know, all of that stuff shines through when you are grounded in that space. And sometimes we have to like fake it a little bit to get into it so that we're feeling authentic. Okay, Tori says, I feel like half and half. I know I can make money, but I also like to flap that I can't. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that this is the head and heart stuff as well, Tori. So our brains have a useful function in being like, what are the problems that I need to solve? That's helpful. We like to know that we can solve problems. It's when you get stuck there in the like wheel, you know, the loading wheel on the screens, when you're there and just going round and round the like, I can't, that's when, yeah. But the like, is there a problem here? Circle is good. The like, just checking is functional. Bex has definitely been more in the scarcity mindset when I think about my business, but I feel abundance. So I intuitively feel I will be okay. Heart is abundance, head is scarcity. Yeah, I think that's the like broad strokes concept of it, is that our brains are problem solvers. Like, is there a problem? How do I fix it? And our hearts are, I know I'll be okay. Where it gets tangly is in the subconscious stuff. So in that secret, unconscious upper limit problem, that's where it's not really about head and heart. It's just about that part of you that doesn't often get to the surface in either direction. That sometimes our hearts can also believe that we just need to stay safe. And we need the strength of the heart to pull us out of that. I hope that made sense. Okay. So, first part of this session is to remind you that you can do this. Christmas is coming. There is opportunity, and you can do this. You already have plenty of resources available to you. You already have materials and product. You already have websites and marketing channels. You already have people cheering you on. You already have ideas and ways of working. You already have all of that. One of the ways that we can quite quickly access that sense of abundance is to think about what we already have and express the gratitude. That's part of what we do in the ritual. It's part of what we can do anytime, is to be like, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the laptop with which I am doing this call. I'm grateful for the materials that I bought 3 years ago and they're still there and I'm still going to use them. And isn't that great? You know, there are so many things that we take for granted because we're so worried and stuck in that, like, can I do it? Is it going to happen? We can already ground into gratitude for the plenty that exists. And then this is one that probably we could take many years to many decades to really understand, but the idea that it's safe to make enough money and that it's possible, that it's not something that other people do because they're somehow better at it or better set up. Some of them definitely were born into a different set of financial circumstances, but you get to also make enough money for you, and it is possible. I'm distracted by the chat, so I'm going to check in. Rosie says, I've been thinking about whether there is a disconnect between my packaging and marketing and my ideal customer. I'm worried about investing in the luxe packaging, but worried about the disconnect giving the wrong message, even if that is only to myself. Rosie, I'm going to pin that and we're going to circle back to it because I think it's a good question and example for us to think about. Progress and not perfect here too. So we're going to remove from this conversation that there is a perfect money mindset. We are all works in progress all the time. And even if it's not necessarily about, I don't mean progress in the like, we always have to be selling more than we did last year. The revenue always has to be growing. It's not necessarily that. The progress can be that you go into Christmas knowing what enough looks like, having a good enough goal, having a good, better, best. Progress might be for you staying on top of the stock levels so that you don't overspend on speedy delivery this time. It might be putting 1% of revenue, 1% of profit into a savings account. Teeny tiny, but progress. There are plenty of opportunities. There are plenty of opportunities to make the sale, to connect with customers, to be in the right place at the right time, and you will find the right ones for you. There's a lot of self-trust in that. There's a lot of understanding that you will find the right things for you right now. We might not do it perfectly, we might not have every single opportunity that we would wish for, but there are still plenty. And we want to think about long-term success. with the short-term focus. So this is a time when we talked about this on Friday for those who weren't with us at Cozy Christmas. We were talking about what to say no or yes to in terms of requests that might come in at this time of year. Because I don't know about you guys, but I think there's a flurry of like magical marketing opportunities or commissions, or Beck had a can you provide this for a hamper like opportunity thing. And we were talking about what would make it a yes. And it was a really good example. One of the decision makers for responding to those inquiries and opportunities was, is this what I want to do in my business? Is this something I want to be known for? Is this something that I would actively seek out? And I think that's a really good example of thinking about long-term success. What do I want to be known for? What am I really trying to build? Is this the vision for my business that I want? With that short term, I can still say yes to an opportunity that might not be fully aligned with that long-term vision if it gives me a short-term boost of cash that's going to then help me go long-term. Or it might be a no from straight away. But what we want is to be facing the right direction, facing the right audience, facing the right product mix with this short-term sprint towards Christmas. Okay, another sip. Okay, so here are some mindset shifts. These are like my seeds that I'm just planting for you today. During Q4, and really we're at the end of October, so during the next couple of months, you can fuel your business for the next 12 months. That there are varying degrees of percentage of revenue that comes in at this time of year within the collective. There's Laura Clemson on one end of the spectrum that's like very much of the revenue for the whole year is in the next couple of months. And then there are others, Joe Butcher, some of our jewelers, some of our like Abby with wedding stationery, where it's a much smaller amount, but that there is opportunity for you to fuel your business wherever you are on that spectrum for the next 12 months, either through money into the business or through the opportunity to connect with customers and build your audience. But it is possible to do that. We are in the business of fueling your business for the next 12 months. You can also expand your capacity beyond any upper limit problems for how much you're allowed to earn. This is one of the best times of year to expand your expectations, expand your ability to receive the sales. And that's partly because externally from your little bubble of self and business, the vast majority of the population are primed to purchase. They're actively looking for gifts to purchase and for things to make their lives better. So there is already that predisposition to purchase that we can then catch and make the most of. And there's also this opportunity to get into better balance with your energy exchanges. So again, this is one of the things that comes back to long-term and short-term, not discounting by 60% at Black Friday because that's what you think you need to do to get the sale. Staying within a range of discounts, which could be zero, a 0% discount, but getting that energy exchange right for you. There are tactical discounts, for example. There are ways to make sure that your pricing is right, make sure that it's building your business for the future. It's also saying no to things that are going to take up a lot of your time for not enough revenue or profit at this very busy time of year. Really seeing your energy as a very premium resource that we have to protect and make sure is being given to the right things. For me, making things meaningful and impactful always helps me to engage with practicality. So that sense of stock counting where no one really wants to do it, especially when it's really busy, but knowing that that could become a leaky tap helps me to connect with it. So I don't know if you have, I'm going to talk through a few ideas of practicalities in a minute, but you might have some that start to come to mind that you find it easy to avoid or like slips to the bottom of the list, but actually that we could just help to reduce the leaks there. Okay, so let me talk through a few of these. Check on your pricing. I hope many of you have already done that, but just before we go into, Nikki, I feel like you looked at me then. Just before we go into actually receiving the volume of Christmas sales, because I'm guessing we haven't had too many yet, maybe. Just checking in on pricing. If you've got things in campaigns. Oh, Tori, you're very clever. Tori figured out how to increase pricing on a particular play, like Shopify. Yeah. Wix. Yes, great. You can also do it in Shopify in your bulk edit function, just in case anyone needed to know that. And I will also add, check your delivery pricing. We will talk about Royal Mail in a minute, but that's also a good thing because it can erode the margin. So does anything need a review before we head into actually selling the things? And remembering that 5% can make a big difference over a volume of sales. Focus on your bestsellers first. So is there anything that is a volume item already and you kind of know and anticipate that that will be the same again, that needs an increase, that needs checking, that needs a little sprinkling of sense check? When did you last really update your material costs, for example, if you've had anything go up in price, etc. Royal Mail, who we have mixed feelings about, have repeated their surcharges from last year in a slightly weird and wonderful way. Just check. Let's just check that we have covered the cost of those things, and that you have probably increased your delivery charges. I won't go into the super detail of that, but just, you guys, reminder to do that. International options. I left in here, even though international has changed quite a lot in the last 12 months. So just remembering that we don't want to lose out on postage and packaging. So anything that you are sending internationally, making sure that you've allowed for any tariffs or things that we need to consider, and that you are up to date on your postage costs and your packaging costs for any international orders. And kind of deciding as well how much you're going to invest in reaching those international markets and doing that international messaging or not. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to that question, but there might be a good use of time for each of you. I know some of us do have a lot of international customers, in which case, great. It's really important that you spend the time to hone the messaging and make sure it's up to date and correct. For others, it might be something that's like, if it happens, it happens. Let's not worry about it. Good stock management saves money. No overpaying for last minute delivery. If you have not already heard me talk about the concept of a trigger box, which is like an area, a literal box, in which you have the last ream of paper, the last roll of tape, whatever your last set of supplies is, last set of ink for the printer, so that if you have to open the trigger box to get the last thing out, that's when you reorder more. It's also known as par levels. You might just have a sense of the things. My experience of small product-based businesses is that you have lots and lots of different materials and lots of different things that you use, and it can be hard to keep on top of all of them, especially at Christmas. Start again with your bestsellers and your must-haves. Give yourself a par level or a trigger box. And as much as possible, if you can automate it, have supplier details to hand, know what you need to do, understand what their lead times are, that is going to help you to stay on top of any margin erosion that can happen. Staying on top of cash flow and bookkeeping. I know that when you're like, I just need to do all the orders and get all the orders and make all the orders, that you don't necessarily want to look at spreadsheets or bookkeeping, but it can really help to stay on top of just the tracking that we do in the ritual. Are you tracking your sales so that you know where you are compared to your this is enough level? You could do that so beautifully visually. That's always a win, where you have to like color in a thing to show how much revenue you've made. But that's a really helpful sense check so that you know what your focus is on. If you are looking at a very busy day that is, I'm actually tracking way above my sales target, then you have the freedom to go and figure out all of the orders. If you have a very busy day and you are not tracking at your revenue plan, your job first is to work on the marketing. So anything that can help you prioritize what needs to happen is helpful. Tori says like a totalizer off Blue Peter, 100%. Post-its also great. Spreadsheets also wonderful. Whatever it is for you, I am open. We can color code stuff. I'm happy as long as you're happy. But keeping on top of cash flow, there are definitely busy times in my own business. I don't do this for FitsPlease because it's not my job, but certainly my own business, doing a daily how much money is in the business account can be really helpful to give me a sense of where we're at. That might be weekly, does not have to be every single day, but just keeping on top of cash flow, having a list of purchases that might come up. If you are managing stock and you normally buy £2,000 worth of envelopes at a time, because that's how you do it, then let's make sure we've got £2,000 available to do that and plan for it. So these are the practicalities. They are unsexy, my friends. Unsexy business. If I had to rebrand the collective right now, that's probably what I would call it. But giving them meaning, knowing that these are the things that plug the gaps, keep everything really aligned and healthy, and shift us in a very practical way from scarcity to abundance. These are the things that get you from busy, but there's success and profit at the end of it, versus busy and, oh, turns out I didn't actually make any money that whole Christmas. These are the things. Okay. Let's talk profit first, very briefly, because I think this time of year is joyful for this sense of profit first. So starting with keeping bookkeeping up to date, checking in with cash flow and knowing what's in your bank balance, that's like step one. And then when you are doing the ritual, the end of this month, end of November, the end of December, it's really helpful to keep on top of the bookkeeping, know what your real revenue looks like, putting aside your cash for tax, whether you have corporation tax or whether you are a sole trader and have your own personal tax, both, if both is relevant to you, having the percentage of revenue that you need to go into a tax saver. And if you're VAT registered, putting your VAT to one side as well. It's not yours, it belongs to HMRC. Unfortunately, because who knows what they're doing with it, but that's fine. That's still what we do. We want to put money aside for profit. This is how we build long-term strength. As a reminder, putting a small percentage, 5% might feel like a huge amount. 1% is a great starting point. Tori is my evergreen example of like, Even when it was 50p, she did it. She put it in there. And getting into that habit of putting a percentage of sales into a profit pot, that's how we build strength. That's how we build the ability to buy new equipment or expand the business. One day you'll have enough for a jockey bar. Yeah, not even a Freddo. Like, profit can also be, you know, the personal stuff. That can be the holiday. That can be the whatever home developments we dream of. But getting into the habit of doing it is how we build strength. There's also a huge benefit to having different percentages going into operating expenses. So that's the stuff that's like, I need to buy 2,000 envelopes, etc. But having it in your head as percentages is really helpful. And this is a really good time of year to do it, especially if you do have more sales than normal coming in, because there is money to put in these pots in a really beautiful way. And it's also a time where it can be really, really tempting to like, oh my God, there's money, I'll buy loads of stuff. Whoa. Let's do this first before you figure out how much you've got to like joyfully play with. Bonus if you put these into different accounts. This is a really, really, I have lots of thoughts on Profit First system. I think it's amazing. I think it can be very strict. And so I want to add in flexibility, but I also want to share my enthusiasm for the concept and for the idea that you are working on a business model that has this is where the money goes baked into how you think about the money coming in. So when you see £100 come into the business, you know that however much of that is going to go to material costs, to delivery costs, to, you know, all of that stuff. Let's have that really clear. Becca's going to bury hers in a box in the garden. Great. Good. I love that. Okay. I have a few kind of next steps, practical things that you can do to share. And then I'm going to come back to Rosie's question and we can kind of check in with how everyone's doing, how you're feeling about all of these concepts. So, oh, this is very Christmas based. Let's not look at those next steps. I don't know how I've managed to copy those in here. So our actual next steps are going to be to make sure that you've got some level of the ritual in your calendar. So we'll be doing quick versions for end of October, end of November, end of December. So you can do it in like 20 minutes. And we'll do the full version for those who can stick around, but we'll be doing that next week. So we can talk about this in a practical way after that, making a note of when those rituals are happening. If you are selling through marketplaces, just giving yourself that cash flow sense check of when you'll get paid from Etsy, when you'll get paid from Knoths, understanding what that might look like. I also invite you to think about an affirmation. Think about how you can ground yourself in an abundance. There is enough. You can do enough space. Beck, I will share these slides with updated next steps so that you have those in there. But yeah. Okay, I'm going to come out of sharing. If we need to come back to this, we totally can. I'm going to come out of sharing and I'm going to come back to Rosie's question. So I'm very happy to answer questions. I'm very happy to offer coaching to see if there's anything we can untangle in this space so that you can go into Christmas feeling like it's doable. Rosie said, I've been thinking about whether there's a disconnect between my packaging and marketing and my ideal customer. I'm worried about investing in the luxe packaging, but worried about the disconnect giving the wrong message, even if that is only to myself. Rosie, tell me more.
So my I think my focus for this Christmas is split, and I'm hoping if I am here next year that there won't be that split. So I feel like there is an aim to get rid of as much old stock as possible. And my it's not that I want to get rid of off the shelf completely, but I want it to be a much smaller part of the business and to be a higher value. So, sorry, sorry if you can hear my kids fighting. I've in the research that I've been doing of like influencers that I can contact. My goodness, like it's a whole other world.
It is a whole other world.
Like I've been watching a lady dance around in tweed for about a week now. Like, how do you do this? I mean, fair play, like, you know. But and I know maybe it's not exactly her, but it is her in maybe a slightly different guise. So kind of I'm
Yeah, the
watching
ideal customer.
yes, I'm watching that content to try and learn more about what the followers are looking for, even if I don't feel that person's entirely aligned. And I just don't feel that my current packaging, which is printed off my home printer on craft card, cuts it. and like with my Holly & Co customers, I'm now gift wrapping everything, even if it's not
paid for.
And it's not massive, but so like it's being wrapped in blue tissue paper with a twine bow, and I'm finding like little off-cut decks and just like attaching them. So it's not costing me
There's a bit of waste reduction there, actually.
Yeah, and it's just zhuzhing a little bit, so that they get a nicer unboxing experience.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether this is like the scarcity mindset of you don't know if you're going to be here after Christmas. So don't put more money into anything. Oh, you're not actually going to cut it. So, like, I don't know whether this is fear finding a problem to focus on to stop me.
Yeah. Let's be really curious about what it is, because I can see it in lots of different ways. I think I'll say some stuff and then we can kind of see where you are in it, because I think packaging is hugely expensive. Like there is a reason that it's part of a luxe experience, which is that you're paying for it because it is really expensive to get the good stuff, and that has really gone up in the last 5 years, in the last 10 years. Is just the cost of getting beautiful custom boxes or custom ribbon or the good paper. All of that stuff is really expensive, and so I think we have to be very discerning about where we invest, because it would be easy, especially for us who've all got great taste and want the experience to be impeccable, to spend so much money on making it happen. So I think there is a little bit of just bringing us down from the like super duper degree that we would love to push it to, because we want everything to be perfect. James says at the end of the day, packaging goes in the bin or the recycling. I mean, I think there are exceptions to the rule, but I think that is kind of true. We want a really lovely unboxing experience, and a lot of it is waste. So I think waste reduction stuff, Rosie, is wonderful. I also think that most of you have that skill of like tying really nice bows on whatever ribbon you have, and it doesn't actually have to be the most expensive ribbon, but you're going to make it look nice than your customer, the average person off the street, etc. So I think there's a lot of like, you guys have the creative skill to pack things nicely. That is rare as well. But Rosie, I'm interested in where you go in terms of what you want to invest in from a packaging point of view. Because I would say that like there are things that you can do in conjunction with a home printer that can elevate a bit. And there's also one of the things that we talk about a lot at Fitzbillies, actually, because food packaging, if it's not off the shelf, oh my God, it's so expensive. So we do a lot of, this bit has to be off the shelf so that this bit can be bespoke, made for us. So we're in this long process of getting our biscuits into boxes rather than just cello bags. And it's like the biscuit tray that's going to go inside has to be off the shelf so that we can have a bespoke branded box that goes around the outside. We cannot have bespoke both, because otherwise I have to charge like £12 for a box of 8 biscuits. Like, it's just, we can't make that work. So I'm interested in, where are the places for you that you're like, this could be a little investment that would elevate it. This is an investment that's actually not worth focusing on.
Yeah, I've written down today that I want to focus on retaining customers.
Nice.
And that is like, I feel like every 5 seconds the ground shifts, and so at the minute, like, I don't see a long-term future with Etsy at all.
No, that makes total sense with the direction that you want to go
in.
Yeah.
Or not on the high street. So I'm going to lose 2 marketplaces. And so I'm going to be dependent on Holly until I can get the website being the main income. But I feel like Holly customers are probably the most educated customers. Does that make sense in terms of like what we do and who we are, and like they're buying the purity of handmade. Yeah. And so I'm hoping that a £14.95 customer this year might turn into a £200 customer next year. And might turn into oh, I found you on Holly, and then I
came direct for my bespoke work.
Yeah. So I know that that's kind of where I want to concentrate my investment, but I can't, particularly like knowing that I'm going to hopefully sell and then not renew a lot of these products. Like, again, I don't want to invest in stuff. It's just like if someone could find me a way of making like a thicker board that wasn't craft brown, that would go through my printer, or I could find some way of doing it that it felt luxe. Yeah, that's it. It's the unboxing.
The unboxing of the off-the-shelf products that you're hoping to sell down this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that includes your lovely postcards that you have.
You see, I can't put those in with Holly.
Ooh. Okay.
Which is really frustrating. I mean, like, I get it. She's protecting Holly
Yes.
and
and she should,
as she should, and I'm not against that at all. It's just working out how to do that.
Yeah.
That level of ooh.
Laura's waving at us.
Can I just ask a question? Rosie, do you have your website on there on your cards? Is that why you can't put them in Holly & Co?
Yes, I think so.
If you are going to get new ones, you could take the website off and just put search for and your business name, because I think the majority of people don't actually type a website in, they'll type it into Google and go that way. And so if you put in like search for Rosie and the Boys, just as an example, people would just go to Google and then, or they could search that on Holly & Co. And I think that would get you around the rules. I'm not saying to cheat, but
No.
if the issue is the website, I really think the majority of people go straight to Google rather than typing in the website.
Yeah, because I think my concern is not pissing Holly off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and I and so I'm really nervous of doing something that like is, it doesn't break, they would say it breaks the spirit of the rule rather than the rule.
So you can't have anything branded?
I send a branded card with my orders.
Yeah,
I mean, have a website on, but it is branded.
You have like these, right, Laura?
I don't send those in my Holly & Co ones. I have 34th Street ones that are just like a thank you card. It doesn't have any like website details or but it's my own brand.
So something like that. Because I
think that's okay, and
I mean,
follow.
I would present Laura Clemson as one of the queens of making her packaging work quite hard, but not very much unit cost. Because, and this goes to Beck's comment as well, this is her packing slip that is pre-printed on the back with information about her packaging, pre-printed with cardboard boxes. We use FSC or we reuse packing peanuts, they can be dissolved, blah blah blah. That's pre-printed, and Betsy does a similar thing where she has our story on the back of her. So this is a place where you can invest in a pre-printed A4 sheet on, Nikki also, well done. And then when you're printing your automated things from wherever, you've already got all of this beautiful branded information. You're not redoing that every time. You don't have to put in a separate thing. We don't have to have a separate postcard or piece of paper. It's just the packing slip that is printed on a thing that does some hard work for you. So Rosie, I would
Do that.
recommend doing that. I think Laura has a very on-brand recyclable piece of paper. You could go for a heavier paperweight that's still going to go through your printer. You could go for a slightly different color paper to elevate. So I think Betsy has her pale blue. So her pre-printed on the back sheets are on a pale blue paper stock. So it's, Nikki says mine's A5, so lighter and smaller. Beautiful, love it. But yeah, you could really choose something. It doesn't have to be thicker card. It can be something that is on brand. And this is where you create a luxe experience by having taste and creative skills rather than just cash. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I wish I had Laura's graphic design skills.
Yeah, I know, don't we all? And then she's also excellent at doing, this is her thank you card, where she just does a little like handwritten note up there. It's a lovely thank you. And then it has an activity that I'm definitely going to give to my children on the back, which is on brand for her. Whereas Rosie, yours could be something that's going to resonate with your.
Yeah, so I've started using, I've got a ton of greetings cards that are never going to sell. So what I'm doing now is I'm guillotining them off and I'm using those and
Yeah.
doing a handwritten note on
That,
those.
yeah, we have that at Fitzbuddies as well. We've had loads of cards over the years, and there are so many different ones that we just can't even like. I'd have to set up like 20 bajillion different things on the till system to sell them, and I'm like, let's just put them in for free. Let's just put them in
Yeah, and I've
often
like kind of
for
cut,
free.
they didn't cost much to
No,
print, so I'm just like, well, just use
let's use them.
those.
Yeah, let's use them. That's like using your offcuts as well.
Yeah.
And so actually you've got some waste reduction. You can use some decent ribbon to tie it, those offcuts and those cards, to do the unboxing concept really beautifully, without having to create thousands of pounds worth of bespoke packaging work.
Yeah, I think it's just getting in my head, isn't it? About
Getting in your head. And also I heard a rumor that Holly went on a TV show and her advice was basically invest in packaging and then you'll be fine. And I
well, in the example from her program last time.
Okay, great. I haven't actually watched it myself in case that wasn't clear.
No. She did have a point.
Yeah, good.
She did have a point, and
good.
there was one yeah, that was a common theme throughout that show.
I see.
But the guy in particular, she like he had the good idea of a basically guy who lost functionality of an arm, made things one-handed, had a label, like his name was Handicraft, like he got the genus of the idea, and then a graphic designer, and I'm sure that behind the scenes they put them in touch with a good, we're like, okay, because that is seriously good design.
Okay, cool.
Redesigned the logo so it was really slick, like,
oh, nice,
really slick. Again, keeping the concept of like, and she suggested everyone change their names.
Yeah,
but he went to like single-handedly made or something like that. The logo was incredibly well done.
Yeah.
And then she said he made like wooden stuff, and she was like, get it so that you can burn it into your product.
Yes, nice.
And he did. And it was, where you're like,
that makes sense.
He started from shove it in a jiffy bag.
Yeah.
So like it was a low level to like it then came wrapped in white tissue paper with a nice sticker, a really well designed logo. And I'm like, yeah,
So
It-
objectively, how far away are you from that? Because I
like
don't think I'm that far away from that.
I'm not shove it in a jiffy bag.
No.
I don't know whether I'm as slick as I want to be. And I don't know whether that's like I'm wanting to be here
Hmm.
and actually my finances I need to be because like what he did doesn't cost a lot of money
Hmm.
except the design.
Hmm.
The cost was the very good graphic designer.
Yeah.
And I wish that graphic designer was credited.
Yeah, same. I hope they
Considering
were
like
paid.
this is, you know,
Yeah, because that's not free. Like, that's not free.
no, and I did mean to go and look at the credits and see whether there
Mm,
was actually credit for that
same.
because the you know where you're like, why is no one celebrating that that person has done
That, yeah,
such a good
such a good job.
job? And yeah, I guess it's that. I don't know. Maybe it's my
So I think it's good to have an aspiration of this is where I want to be, and there's the reality of what can I do right now that's going to get
yeah,
me closer to it. I think this is where I am with Fitzbillies as well. We can't afford this year time or money to have boxes for our Christmas puddings made. There are no off-the-shelf options that are the right size in 3 different sizes that all look the same. And even if there were, I would have to still brand them in some way, blah, blah, blah. So here we are, slightly labor intensively wrapping them in gold paper again. But that's what I can afford right now.
yeah.
Next year, it will be more efficient and it will look better to have boxes, but I need to get some cash in to invest in that and do it in January. So I've got time for the print run to happen. Done. So
Yeah.
there is always this like we're planning for the future, but we've got to do it in this window. So what's the best that you can afford with your margins and the resources you have available to do now that's going to give the best unboxing experience for your ideal customer?
I could definitely invest in some coloured paper and do a backstory on it.
You totally can.
I can do that.
And it will be so good. And can I just say, Laura, I love you. This is not the most advanced graphic design I've ever seen. It's very good, but like it's a story. The content, it's not like you can do it, Rosie. I totally believe that you can do some backstory that looks nice enough.
Yeah, I don't trust myself enough.
And also, I think there's also a thing of like, we talked about this last week, I think. You can see the behind the scenes. You know the behind the scenes of the business, whereas actually you're proffering this thing outside of your business in its entirety, and that's all that someone experiences, not the rest. So we want to just bring out like this thing and see it without your lens of, oh, because
Like
actually,
I feel like the Wizard of Oz, terrified that someone's going to pull back the curtain.
I just, can we just, does anyone not feel like that? Like, if you do, please share. Yeah, I think that's imposter syndrome, and
Yeah,
that's a comparison of you can see all of your messy insides and you can't see anyone else's messy insides, so you think they don't exist, whereas they definitely do exist.
oh no, I know that they exist. It's just that I think they're better at hiding them.
That's no,
No?
no,
Okay.
it's all a mess. Don't worry.
Sorry, I feel like I've dragged everybody off point, but it's
No, this is some of the nuance though, right? This is some of the, and I think some of it is this is the money mind, because your question really was, am I holding myself back by not investing in better packaging? And my answer is probably not.
yeah,
My answer is you can wisely invest in some things, but actually it can be because of scarcity mindset to over invest in something that's not actually going to move the needle that much.
Thank you. That's a very, yes. Yeah. Yeah. I'm
guilty of that myself, for sure.
Yeah, it's just about, yeah, finding that little thing that shifts the yeah, walks the line. And Laura, like, I've had stuff from you and your packaging is like mint. It's so well into your story. It kind of builds everything, and it's trying to do the same, but obviously for a different market. And
I think as well, some of your question is, what are the expectations of this slightly new audience that we don't know as well yet? Like, what are their expectations? I think that's some of your question as well. And let's use this season as a sounding board and let's find out more about that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Because customer retention is a very noble aim. It's very important. It's easier to retain a customer than it is to get a new customer. And we want to give them the best. Every customer that you've done all the hard work, all the hard marketing, all of the everything, you've got them. We want to keep them and give them the best experience. And let's find out. Let's find out if there's feedback. Let's find out if, just keeping your eyes and ears open for the email, for the review, and yeah.
Yeah, because I just like, last thing, and then I'm going to shut up. I've just bought 6 of the wooden oranges made by Supplies for Life.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford them. I can't really afford them this year, but I've thought about them all year.
Oh yeah. Then
I was like, no, I'm going to buy them this year, because
Yeah.
then I'll use them every year, and I know that they're going to be a thing in my kids' stocking and in my parents' stocking, and I can reuse them every year, and then they will pay for themselves. Deep breath, press buy. And I want that's the connection I'm looking
Yes.
for. Like, so when they come,
Yeah.
I will be dissecting their packaging.
Yeah.
But it's a, when you're like, you can see where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just about kind of getting and working out what in your own thing isn't doing that communication.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have got some return. I'm tracking if I have returning customers on Holly. So you have the ability to see whether they're a returning customer to you,
mm-hmm.
and if they're a returning customer to Holly.
Yeah, okay.
And I've kind of got this message down pat now about, like, so you've come back to Holly & Co, and thank you for choosing to shop small. And I've got a little essay now that I can write, and it's handwritten, and but it's about wanting them to come back to me.
Mm-hmm.
And is the packaging doing the work that I need it to do to get them to come back and to spend more, and believing that will work? That's the thing, isn't it? It's imposter syndrome.
And it's not an overnight thing.
Why is it not, Ginny?
Well, when I find them, I will tell you. Okay.
Why can't I just click my fingers and it's thank you. I've taken up a lot of time, sorry. But
it's okay. It was good example to talk through. Thank you. And I'm really excited about your oranges. I
know they do come in punnets with straw. Oh my god.
That's very on brand. You see, what's the on brand?
It's I just like, if I had all the money in the world, I would go to one of those really expensive packaging graphic designer people, and they would go, "Oh, it's this, Rosie."
I know.
And off I'd trot.
Very expensive though.
Yes.
Okay, I want to check in, see if there are any other questions or any other things that we can work through. Everyone stares. Sometimes trying not to make eye contact. That's okay. How ready do you feel? Not ready. There's a not readiness. How much self-belief do you have? No. Okay. How much belief do you have in the people you can see on screen? Yeah, interesting. Interesting. Bex says I'm looking forward to January. Yeah, I would like to go to sleep and wake up in January. I'm not gonna lie. It would be quite nice. But we'll do it. Yeah, huge amounts of belief in the people we can see on screen. Yes. Joe says it's next week. What in particular is next week?
A Christmas fair. Christmas.
Your Christmas.
Mm.
Okay. How do you feel about that?
Well, there's lots to do, and tomorrow I'm going to my parents for 2 days.
Okay, great.
So knackered at the thought of what I've got to do Saturday, Sunday. So.
Yep.
But then also can't be bothered because nothing much is selling. So why kill myself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it one you've done before?
Yeah, it didn't happen last year, and that's when I did
Right.
country living.
Yes.
So going back. So
Good.
it might be all right.
Well, don't kill yourself doing all
No. It's just the last 2 fairs have been down, isn't it? So it's just like, well, and I know it's a good area, but
It's a good area. It's payday weekend.
yeah, I forget that.
Yeah.
It exist. You're self-employed, you forget that.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Well,
I'm also in that limbo stage, waiting for that email. So
I know you are. I've been thinking about you so much.
From books.
I bet she's just in her own little world thinking about this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that didn't happen. I remember that didn't happen in October last year. It happened in November. And you kind of got stuck in a little. Okay. What a great distraction to have a fair next week.
I'm just chasing my tail at the moment.
Yeah.
Constantly going to parents and deadlines. So, but I've stitched all my deadlines. So
well done for stitching all your deadlines.
Yeah. So I'm quite looking forward to after next week, a few weeks off.
Few weeks off.
Sorry, girls.
Yeah. Don't listen to her. She's on a different timeline. Yeah. Well, we'll be thinking of you, and I hope. Yeah, I hear that going up to your parents is a lot as well. So yeah. Okay, curious about how it goes next week. Will you come and check in and tell us? Tell us how it goes. Yeah. Bex says I'm a bit like, I'll get through it, whatever it will be. Whatever will be, will be. I have decided not to stress about it and just do what I can do. It's not the time for big changes and pushing myself. It's a Christmas to listen to my capacity and look after myself. Yes. I want to do a great job for the few customers I have and make them feel valued rather than try and get as many orders as possible and risk burnout. Yeah, and I feel like that does correlate to some of Rosie's like retain the customers stuff. Feels really good and important. I also think, Beck, you had a really good, and again, this fits with some of the money mindset stuff, which is the simplification. So you don't have to make stock of every single item to take to every single fair, you can concentrate your efforts on things that are bestsellers and are going to work, and that helps, that simplification helps to attract the abundance as well. There's some really good stuff there. So for a heated ski suit as well, brilliant.
Can I just say something on that as well?
Oh,
Am I speaking at a normal volume?
you are, yeah.
Okay, I have earplugs and earbuds and I'm in a cafe, so I don't know. Oh, there's no one behind. Yeah, so for the market setup, I've been taking, because it's coming up to Christmas, I've been taking like all the seasons and everything, like a section for everything. Because I think, well, people will have been looking at my spring and summer stuff all year, and maybe they're like, oh, Christmas is the time when I'll buy it for myself or for someone. So I haven't wanted to lose any of like the daisies, the daffodils, the springy summer things, because I'm like, people just buy stuff for Christmas for all seasons, but then it's very difficult to fit everything on the table. So yeah, maybe I'm basically just verbally processing at you right now. Sorry. I'm kind of thinking, so say if I've got a daisy collection, I could just put out 2 pieces from that and have a little sign saying more stock behind, and then take all the stock with me. But then that also makes it stressful to try and make stock for every single collection. So I don't know what my question is or what to do really for the best.
I wonder if we can do a detail on that in our one-to-one.
Okay. Yeah.
And just go through it, because I think my instinct is that you do need to simplify and not make stock for everything.
Yeah.
Okay. But let's make sure that we're clear on the why and what the message is to the customer.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
No worries. Okay. How's everybody doing? Good, good. Good, good, good. On Friday, it is Halloween and we have open office hours. So if you need a directional boost, if you need some coaching, if you want to talk through any detail, if you need a pep talk, we can do all of those things. If you would like me to write you a thing, we can do that. So if you have anything ahead of that call, let me know. If not, we can show up on Friday. We can do some co-working. We can do some feedback. We can do the things. Next week, we have ritual prep and then the ritual, because it will be November. It's going to be great. Everything's going to be fine. I will be here cheering you on. I believe in all of you, and I am looking forward to seeing you next week, or not even then, on Friday. I'll see you on Friday. Okay, take lots of care, and I will see you soon. Bye, everybody.